Before performing the visual, the inspector must verify that all occupants have exited the vehicle is in park or neutral, the parking brake is set, all accessories are turned off, the ignition is turned off, and the wheel chocks are in place. If federal regulations require the vehicle to be equipped with specific emission control components, each component must be inspected through direct or indirect observation. The inspector will be required to determine the location of each component, if the component exists, appears to be properly connected, and appears to be the correct type for the vehicle. Inspectors may use the Vehicle Emission Control Information label located in the engine compartment to determine the original components for the vehicle. The analyzer will prompt the inspector to conduct a visual inspection of the following components. The fuel inlet restrictor is located under the gas cap in the filler neck of the fuel tank. The purpose of the restrictor is to prevent incorrect fuel filler nozzles from being inserted into the fuel inlet. This component was originally used to prevent the addition of leaded fuel to vehicles manufactured to run on unleaded fuel. The inspector must carefully review the gas cap removal precautions and instructions, which are prominently displayed near the gas cap prior to removing the gas cap to inspect the fuel inlet restrictor. Fuel tanks may become pressurized due to ambient temperature changes. Accordingly, raw fuel may splash or create a vapor hazard if the gas cap is removed too quickly. The inspector must remove the gas cap and verify that the fuel inlet restrictor exists, appears to be connected, and appears to be the correct type for the vehicle. The catalytic converter, in most cases, will be located before the muffler and resonator, and as close to the engine as possible. Since some vehicles contain more than one catalytic converter, the number of converters should be determined prior to inspection. This component uses the heat from combustion, unburned fuel, and air in the engine exhaust stream to convert the pollutants in the exhaust stream into environmentally acceptable non-pollutants. The inspector must be aware of the serious burn hazard that exists when inspecting the catalytic converter. The optimum operating temperature for a catalytic converter is above 1800 degrees Fahrenheit. Contact with these hot surfaces will cause severe and painful burns. An inspection of the catalytic converter consists of observing the underside of the vehicle by any method that is safe, appropriate, and convenient, such as a floor lift or mirror. The inspector must verify that the catalytic converter exists, appears to be properly connected, and appears to be the correct type for the vehicle. This also verifies that the required air tubes have not been rerouted, disconnected, or plugged in any fashion. The PCV valve is located in the engine compartment atop the engine. One end of the PCV valve is usually inserted into the valve cover, and the other end is normally connected to a hose leading to the intake manifold. This component regulates the flow of blow-by gases being removed from the crankcase. There is a significant burn hazard in dealing with hot engine components. Exercise caution when inspecting the PCV valve. The inspector must verify that the PCV valve exists, appears to be properly connected, and appears to be the correct type for the vehicle. This also verifies that the required hoses have not been rerouted, disconnected, or plugged in any fashion. The EGR valve is located on or near the intake manifold. The EGR system assists in reducing NOx emission by recycling some of the exhaust gases back into the intake manifold. The primary component of the system is the EGR valve, which controls the flow between the exhaust and the intake manifolds. Most systems are quite complex, with various sensors and valves which together control the operation of the entire system. As with all engine parts, use care when inspecting the EGR valve, since a serious burn hazard exists. The inspector must verify that the EGR valve exists, that it appears to be properly connected, and appears to be the correct type for the vehicle. This also verifies that the required hoses and wiring have not been rerouted, disconnected, or plugged in any fashion. There are two main types of air injection reaction systems. One style has an air pump while the other does not. The air pump is usually mounted on the front of the engine. Rubber hoses typically run from the pump to a variety of valves and then to the exhaust system. The air injection system provides additional air to the exhaust system to reduce unburned hydrocarbon and carbon monoxide emission. There is a significant burn hazard associated with inspecting the air injection system. Also, be very careful around moving belts and pulleys at the front of the engine, keeping clothing, hair, tools, and hands away from moving parts. The inspector must verify that the air pump, drive pulley, drive belt, and required hoses exist, appear to be properly installed, and appear to be the correct type for the vehicle. The evaporative control system consists of a vented charcoal canister and a series of connecting hoses. The location of the charcoal canister, which is an integral part of the system, varies at the discretion of the vehicle manufacturer. The canister collects and stores vapors that originate in the fuel system. When the engine reaches optimum operating temperature, the system is activated to return the excess collected vapors into the intake manifold for combustion. There is a burn hazard associated with inspecting the evaporative control system. Exercise caution. The inspector must verify that all components of the system exist, that they appear to be properly connected, and that they appear to be the correct type for the vehicle. As the inspector checks the components on the vehicle, he will enter the results of the inspection into the emission analyzer for each component. The results of the visual inspection are reported as pass, fail, or not applicable. Not applicable is an appropriate result if the vehicle is not supposed to be equipped with that component, or if that component cannot be seen due to its location on the vehicle.